my name is Nancy Coen. I'm the founder of Sons.Global. We have found by releasing some of these teachings to YouTube that there's been an influx of many questions. So I'm spending some time to just answer the questions as well as I can, or as I know how, with what revelation I have at the present moment. The one that we're going to address today is, how can I bring physical healing to my natural body? Actually, there are many different ways, and I'm only going to just share with you my way of doing that. There are several different ways that you can heal. We have healing rooms, we have sozo, we have all kinds of different deliverance ministry, we have different levels of healing ministries that are available, but I'm going to give you my own testimony on healing. Our bodies are actually configured by God to heal themselves. And the way that we're constructed, that healing can take place if only we will do the things that are necessary to keep our body in a position of healing. For me, the original secret in the mystery of living 32 years without a single sickness in my body is the sound. And I began making this sound just by invitation of the Lord, not having any idea what it produced. But there were several periods of my life when I would go into 7 days of making these sounds, 7 days, 24 hours around the clock without stopping. I attribute the fact that I went 32 years without a single sickness, no cold, no flu, no earache, no toothache, no ache of any kind in my body. And the reason I feel that is because frequency heals, and frequency also creates. So the sound that would come out of me would produce a frequency that could actually heal every internal organ. A lot of this is being done through our network at the present moment through something called meditation. And we have meditations every Wednesday, every Friday, where people are beginning to see the fountains of the deep inside of them being broken up. Inside of each and every one of us, we have huge, vast, unlimited quantities of health and creativity and love and peace and joy. All of those things that are in us, the Lord is now going down deep into the interior of our being, like with an oil. The only way I can explain it is, it looks like an oil derrick, and He's breaking up the fountains of the deep inside of us to bring to the surface these vast amounts of creativity and healing that we've only known minimally during the age of the church. So for me, one of the ways that I can secure healing for my physical body and the restoration of longevity, which I'm 75 years old, I have 24 grandchildren and 14 great-grandchildren, and I still have almost abundant energy to the point where I don't even get tired so long as I'm doing the things of the Lord. This healing can also come about by ascension experience. When you ascend into heaven and you see the principles of God in the way that He has actually put you together and created you to function, you can apply those healing things within yourself. Many of the people that are involved in our meditations, many of the people that are involved in sound therapy, receive dynamic healing testimonies in ways that are above and beyond our prior knowledge. I have a granddaughter that was healed by something called a quantum entanglement. And she was healed from a disease that's 3,000 years old that can only be contracted by the mainline bloodline descendants of the Second Temple Ashkenazi Jewish priests. She had been to every doctor, as she'd had every test run since the time she was 7. They would change the diagnosis on about a monthly basis of what her problem was, until finally her therapist, her physical therapist, actually found out that she had something called Ehlers-Danlos, for which there is no cure. And she became so debilitated that she couldn't even hold a pencil. She couldn't take a bath by herself. She couldn't comb her hair by herself. If you would just touch her body, her joints would come out of socket, because part of what this illness does is degenerates all the connective tissue in your body. She couldn't eat because the muscles needed to to pressurize your stomach so that you can digest things were totally dysfunctional. She was healed through something called a quantum entanglement. And what that is the Lord gave me the blueprint for taking 6 other people with me into the heavens, and each one of them having a greater level of authority over a particular place. When this happened, her doctors had actually declared death over her and said, she's going to die. Take her home, make her comfortable. She's not going to make it. And they were actually going to put a feeding tube into her that day. But when we went into the quantum entanglement, which is the agreement of people from different localities in the heavenly realm, she had a radical healing. And it took 7 days to secure that. And during that 7 days, she worked with the Lord to gain that. So every time the Lord would say, do this, do that, it were things that were totally impossible for her. This girl who couldn't even comb her own hair was all of a sudden doing ballet kicks, kicking her legs over her head, doing back bends over chairs, doing things that she never ever could have done before the healing was procured. At the time that she was totally healed, which was on 2/22/22, she was 22 years old, and she was totally healed at 2/22. So the door to something called 2/22 has been opened for her in the heavenly realms. The issue is we're called to be co-workers and co-creators together with God for this. So as human beings, our desire is always take the path of least resistance. Run to the altar, have somebody lay hands on us, have somebody anoint us with oil, because that's the path of least resistance. But now what the Lord is doing is he's calling us to co-participate with him in our own healing. One of the reasons why I encourage people to come and join in our meditations is because many people have been radically healed during those times of meditation. This also includes a teaching about how to do deep breathing, how to close your eyes and see all of these internal wells and fountains and geysers of health and creativity and love and peace and joy. It's all in us. All we have to do is co-work together with him to open up those gateways and those doors which will produce those benefits in our life. The Lord's desire is for us to be perfect and whole, complete, entire, and lacking nothing. But in procuring that, we need to act together with him. Having not had any sickness in my body for 32 years, when COVID came around, I got it. And I went to the Lord and I said, Lord, what in heaven's name? We're going to break 32 years of perfect health with COVID? And he just laughed. And his statement was, I allowed this to you for your own protection. And it turned out that because I had COVID, I could go into other nations without ever getting the shot because I had that element inside of my blood. But he said, this is not about COVID. I am bringing about a global shift. I'm shifting everything. I'm shifting everyone's mindsets. I'm shifting everyone's level of understanding. I'm shifting everyone's consciousness so that the whole world can now become aware of their need for him. There are many times when we're sick that the sickness is caused by emotion. Our body, our soul, our spirit are so intertwined, so interconnected with one another, that when we harbor anger, hatred, bitterness, fear of death, fear of destruction, fear of calamity, fear of sickness, fear of all those things, the word says those things will come upon you. Whatsoever thing we think is going to happen is going to happen because we draw it to ourselves. So many times I tell people, if you want to have a healthy body, forgive the people that have wounded you. Forgive the people. Love your enemies. Allow the joy of the Lord to take place over your sorrows, over your weeping, over your trials, over your tribulations. The more time you spend focusing on your trials and tribulations, the more time you're going to be sick, because your emotions affect everything inside of your body. It controls even the emission of many of the substance in your body that can cause those kinds of things. So inquire of the Lord and ask of the Lord, if you need healing in your body, what would be the necessary steps for you to take? The word says in 2 Corinthians 6, we're called to be co-workers and co-creators together with him for the establishment of his kingdom and his righteousness in all of the earth. His kingdom is multi-dimensional. It's not only out there, it's in here. So as we begin to take authority over the kingdom within and bring ourselves back into perfect alignment with his divine design, sickness can no longer have any part of our body. This is a word from the Lord for you. If you're sick, you inquire of God, what do I need to do to regain my health? Yeshua is the answer to every question, and he loves your questions. Just bring your question before him, and then co-create, co-work together with him to achieve your own healing. This is an hour when this is accessible to you, so get ready. This is Nancy Coen signing off for today. Thank you for joining us. If you want more information, go to sons.global, and we have probably 60 teachings on that website that go into greater depth about the questions that you have. God bless you. Have a great day.